What's up, everybody? Asteroid with a gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. When we left off in the last episode, we had what I'm dubbing Mad Maxed the shooting star, and turned it with this. Oh, shut up! Added these cool semi warp nacelle looking kind of engines on the back to house our newly acquired ion engines, which is working pretty well. As you can kind of tell off in the distance here, we're at the asteroid with the platinum on it.
Fuel.
I think I can use Spectre. Yeah, I really just kind of like the shape of the asteroid here. Now, originally, I was going to do it like this and have kind of, like the hangar thing there and in that cutout, and then maybe like a tower on the top and something else going on. But when I rotated the sun and froze it in place, it was actually more this way, as you can kind of see where the shooting stars aligned. That was kind of the alignment of the star there. So that wouldn't really work, because you'd end up with the tower going that way, solar panels on the bottom. It just wouldn't really work. So I had a new idea, and that was to, as you can kind of see where I started, build a hangar into this kind of groove, if you will, and go in that way. And I'll probably put solar panels out on this end, somewhere kind of straight out from the hangar, but on the tip of the asteroid here. And then we'll put it on rotors and stuff so it could rotate if it needed to, but it shouldn't need to because I stopped the sun from moving. The other thing that I want to do with this is create a processing type situation, because there is platinum on this asteroid, but in the discussions in the comments on a couple episodes ago, I realized from everybody telling me that you're better off with platinum and gold and all those to refine it with a high yield refinery, which I do not have on the shooting star. So that's part of what I want to add. And it also looks kind of tiny when you're looking at, like, that doesn't take up too much of the asteroid. This is actually 15 by 10, and it's kind of a big hangar, to be honest, for me. I mean, it's not a capital ship hangar or anything, but it was like, from looking at it, it looks small. The closer I got, I was like, darn, this asteroid's huge, you know. So there's that. But I want to add a refinery with a high yield setup on the asteroid platform here. We're basically going to be doing a refinery and power outpost, if you will. The other thing that I did is I'm working on adding a ion module to the anteater so we don't have to use the hydrogen if we don't have to. I know it's kind of off to the side, which for stuff like using the PAM script and things wouldn't work really well, because now it doesn't clear the profile with the drills. But I found it easier than tearing all this apart and doing different thrusters and whatnot. So I just made a detachable pod. It's held by a merge block here on this side, as well as there's one on this side if you wanted to flip it around. It should be universal either way. Like, they have the same thrusters, and this is kind of the internal guts. There's 4 laterals. One's hidden by this block row here. But there's 4 laterals. I gave enough space that they shouldn't damage each other, so that everything's internal and you can lock in on the other side. And then we've got 2 on the top, or, well, 4. 2 on each side, top and bottom, and then 3 or 6 total, front and back. So this is what it'll kind of look like. I could do stuff, put extra batteries, LCDs, a spotlight, you know, do fancy things, but for now it just needs to help move the ship around, and some backup batteries to keep the merge blocks running, were you to detach it, and so on. So that's pretty much what I have going on at the moment. I'm going to try and cut out a hangar and have basically an area for it to dock. And, dock the shooting star. So that's kind of the goal, I think, for the episode, is a docking bay, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I wanted to get the ion pod done, but I wanted to also show kind of the internal guts in case anybody wanted to look at it and go, oh, okay, that's a cool idea, you know, stuff like that. So with that, I'm going to finish up this ion pod, and then we're going to start carving out and welding up the hangar and see how far we can get. Okay, so I made quite a bit of progress, actually, although I was a little bit dumb about one thing, and I'll explain that in a minute. As you can see, we're making progress in this hangar. Now, I might have gotten a little carried away, even though I was trying to keep it simple. As you can see, this is a fairly lengthy hangar, but the reason being that I wanted the shooting star to be able to park inside it completely, and if I did my measurements right, I believe the shooting star is about 31 blocks long, give or take. So to make sure that I had enough room, I made the hangar about 40-ish, if my memory serves. Basically, I've been doing a lot of watching some YouTube stuff and things in the background so that I didn't get bored out of my mind. I'm also making use of the new frostbite door here, or hangar door, whatever. And this is going to be the processing area where we add the refinery with the high yield modules. So that's going to be the next step, is to add that and then run a conveyor line. I think this is all going to be the hangar once I hollow out all this stone. But the reason I said I was a little bit dumb is because I didn't think about, I don't really need a hangar right now. That all I really need to do is have a connector set up that goes to a refinery. So, in theory, I could have just, like, you know, put a refinery here, put some stuff here, run a connector, and have been done, but, yeah, things got out of hand. So, what I'm gonna do is kind of focus on this side, because I think I'm going to... Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Either way, I'm going to focus on one side or the other, because I want to be able to access the connector port on the shooting star, so I need to be able to fly it either with the nose out or the nose in, and that would change where the port is, but I need to run a port along the side here and have it come out and connect to that refinery once I get one back there. I also... Let me see if my spectator camera is still underground. It is. I was using it to make sure I didn't go off my line. As you can see, there's a really long line of scaffolding going under this, because I do have my solar array set up, at least one of them for now. We've got 18 solar panels, I believe, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batteries. And so, because of turning off the rotation, for now I just stuck them on a pillar, essentially. If I decide to turn rotation back on, then I may want to add, like, dismantle all of it, rebuild it onto a rotor or something like that. But for now, it's fine the way that it is. So, I've got quite a bit of digging left to do, and I may end up doing some kind of alternate plan to get what I need done without having to do so much. But a lot of this is going to probably stay scaffolding for now. Also, I made Elite hand tools, which has been making things go so much faster. For example, that's a block. So much faster than using the basic ones. So, with that, let me keep chipping away, literally, at all this stone. And yeah, I'll see how much I can get done, and hopefully we'll get enough done that we can get the ship inside and docked up. So, have you ever done something and then realized you were doing it the very, very long and complicated way that you didn't need to be doing that? Because I just kind of did. So, made quite a bit of progress, actually. Let me go ahead. I've cut this rock in half, as you can see. I'll explain that in a minute. Some of you are probably already cringing and probably knowing where I'm going with this, but we'll get to it. So I have the refinery set up, and we have 2 large cargo containers here. And then I've got them running through a connector that'll be eventually covered up by the ceiling. And I'm running a long tube down this way. And I didn't do an exact math, but I did a rough ballpark. This is about halfway in the middle of the hangar, so I figured that was a safe bet, because even though the connector port on the shooting star is not halfway on the ship, I made the hangar longer than the ship, so I think I'll have enough to get away with it. But before I committed to it, I wanted to clear out this rock, right? So that I could fly the ship in here, test it out. Now, I have made the elite hand drill thing, right? And this thing's been carving out stuff quick, right? You just punch a hole through stuff and it just deletes things, right? It's really cool. And I was like, cool, this one's really strong. What I didn't realize, though, is that I was fully aware that right-clicking versus left-clicking, if you left-click, you get the stone. Which, if you didn't know, now you know. If you right-click, it just gets rid of stuff. What I didn't know was that when you right-click, the radius and speed that it drills is significantly faster. So when I equipped the elite drill and went like this, I was like, holy crap, this thing bores holes and stuff, right? So I got in my miner and I was drilling and I was like, well, hold on a minute. When I got in here and I set the I use the toggles typically for the drill group, and when I started drilling, I was kind of like, well, I mean, it's drilling, yeah, the hole's a bigger radius, but it's going a lot slower, right? Like, there's that. You can see how long that takes. Okay. And then I was right-clicking, and I was kind of like, well, dude, it's faster to do this by hand. So I've been doing all this by hand. And then, a few minutes ago, I had a thought. And I left-clicked and realized that this is actually not putting too much of a dent in anything and it takes a minute. And it dawned on me that when you're just deleting blocks and not picking up the stone, the radius and speed is different. And then I looked at this ship, and I looked back at the drill, and I looked back at the ship, and I was like, hold on. So when you use the group blocks, it's just defaulting to drills. But if you actually use the drill from the block tool tab and you hold the left button or right button, yeah. So needless to say, this has taken me... Wait, what's wrong with my view? Get out of there. This has taken me way longer than it should have, is the moral to the story. So, I haven't really been too concerned with actually gathering the stone, predominantly because it was just going to take forever to actually unload everything and whatnot, and I didn't really need it, per se. I mean, it would always be good to have more resources, but we're not really short on iron or stone or anything like that at the moment. So you can see what I just carved out in like 2 seconds. So needless to say, yeah, for those of you that obviously aren't aware, because I haven't mentioned it, I don't think, this has been going on for a couple days, like a day or two, that I've been off camera working on this hangar bay area. Now, some of it would have taken time anyway to place all the blocks, but the drilling has taken a lot longer than it should have, apparently, so we're about to make a whole lot more progress on carving out this hole, is the moral to the story. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, because a lot of you have commented in the past before about using right-click doesn't consume or it doesn't drop the ore, it just drills. What I never realized about those comments was the fact that it drills so much faster and a bigger radius, and it works with the ship drills, because I always use the groups. I always just grab the groups so I could just turn them on. So yeah, big epiphany here. This changes a lot for me for just carving out big chunks in rocks. So wanted to share in case anyone else didn't also know that, and maybe it'll help you guys. So let me go ahead and work on clearing this out the right way, and I will see you guys when I have a more finished setup. Alright, so we have good news and we have bad news, as per the usual. The good news is, as you can kind of tell, we've gotten the shooting star into the hangar. And actually, although the... I can just do it by character, I guess. Although the length of the hangar is fine, The width is actually a little bit more narrow than I kind of expected. I was kind of thinking I'd have a bit more buffer room on the side, but as long as I'm not using my lateral thrusters, I don't think there'll be too much of a damage issue. And it has a good amount of space all the way around, the other way kind of thing. The only issue is, in order to find a spot for the driller, or the anteater, I'm probably going to have to bring a connection port out over here and plug the anteater in somewhere back here, leaving a bit more room this way. In fact, I'm actually going to move this to where I think I might want to put it, because I'm thinking somewhere... I don't really like it, but in terms of resources and space and whatnot, probably right about here. And I'll basically just come off of that conveyor port and just put a small connector there, and it'll just dock in there somewhere. Something like that is what I'm thinking. So there is a bit more room that I can back this up, but not much. And as you can see, this is where the connector was going to go, and the connector's a little further out and up a bit. Now, the up part I don't think I can actually play around with too much, actually. I can play with the back and forth a bit. Hello? No? Okay, I'm gonna have to do this by spectator, apparently. I don't, I don't have any cameras or anything on the ship, so there's that. If we back it up to about, somewhere about there, I don't want to get too close to the anteater or anything, because I know that there's, I believe, 5 blocks, and there's 2, so there's about, I'm pretty close to where that could start getting damaged, so about there. So actually we're not too far off on the distance, but I need to bring it up a block. And I also got thinking about if I want to leave the shooting star this way, so it's kind of in the center of the hangar, which wasn't originally the intention, but now that I'm looking at it, I think it kind of works. I kind of think I want a piston or something to extend and retract the conveyor, or the connector, so I need to bring it out like 5 more blocks or something and go up 1, and then I think I want to surround that with a blast door setup, blast block, and then put a connector back in here somewhere, and then, or a piston, sorry, and I'm thinking if I can, how many blocks away is that? Just eyeballing it, it's like 4 or 5, I think, or maybe 3. I don't think it's 3, but it might be. Anyway, I'll probably stop the connector 1 block out or flush with the wall, depending on what I can do with the piston to make it extend. But I kind of want to make the piston extend and connect that way. And I gotta finish cleaning up some of this, because as you can see, the driller did a really good job at clearing this out. This probably took me about, well, from going from the 2 big chunks of rock I had to done, probably about a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. I mean, off and on. I took breaks here and there, but off and on, probably about 30 to 40 minutes of straight drilling. And I'm just shaking my head the whole time, like, the progress I made just getting the tunnels through before I had the 2 big blocks was like an afternoon, because I was doing it by hand, dummy me. I didn't realize that I could use the same mode on the drillers. Oh well, anyway, it's done now. So yeah, I think that's the plan, is I want to make a piston and extend the connector, and if we can do that, I'm not sure if I'll get the conveyors completely welded up. But if we can get the piston set up to connect to the connector and all that, then I'm probably going to call it for this episode, and I'll probably be happy with that. Okay, so I have some good news on this Frontier. Frontier and Frontier. I I was thinking about which one did I mean to actually say, and then I was like, you know what, I don't really know. But we got this working. I'm actually really impressed with myself that this is actually all kind of working the way it's supposed to. So I surrounded this with blast door blocks, obviously. Though apparently the large grid ones extend a lot further than I thought they did. Because if you look at this, I've got this, wow, that's fast. There we go. I've got this, like, 3 blocks away from the wall, I think. 1, 2, 3. And then it goes around behind. So the piston is 2. The connector is flush with the blast door blocks. And I have this set to, like, 7 meters. It'll actually go further out than this. It pushed the ship away the first time I tried it. But I have it set to, like, 7. And it looks like we all but lined up perfectly. Like, the center of the ship is on this center row. So I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously we don't really have like any kind of landing gears or anything that actually like dock it. Oh, I just saw this. That's bad. Well, not sure how I feel about that. Is it? Let's see, we've got about 1 block over there. And less than a block over here, so it's lined up pretty great in terms of centering it, but I could stand to go a little bit further over, maybe instead of... Actually, it kind of looks like it's crooked, because the front part is lined up. Yeah, it's crooked. Okay, so that's one thing, that whenever I docked it, it was not straight. But the other thing is, ideally... with this setup, if I were to dock again, I should be able to line that front center, basically where the cockpit is. So even looking down, I should be able to line it up on, that's going to be a blue stripe. As you can see, I've kind of got the striping going. And with that in mind, I should be able to just line it up on the blue stripe and just walk it back. So theoretically, moving forward, I shouldn't have to mess with my lateral thrusters coming in. So hopefully that will be okay. And we won't have any more damage there, but I'm not sure I like that, but oh well. And then we also have a secondary connector up here for the anteater. And like I showed before, we've got the refinery and a couple of storage crates. Now, the only thing is, everybody had mentioned using the high yield for stuff like platinum, which now that I think about it, crap, it is refining stuff. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, when I loaded the ship up, or connect the ship, it pulled all of the ore and stuff out. I didn't even think about that. Oh, well, I'll have to probably figure out some way to control that later. But anyway, I went to do the high yield modules, and the only problem is they need superconductors, which when I looked into them, guess what? They need gold. Once again, I'm back to needing gold again. So that's fun. But yeah, overall, we did pretty good, I think. Made some pretty great progress this episode. You know, it's kind of crazy when I think about it, because I did have to work on this for like a few days. It took me a lot longer to do this episode than I normally allocate to recording. But none of this base was here before, so I'm actually kind of proud of myself. And in case you were wondering, I labeled this PAR 1, and it's an acronym I came up with for Power and Resupply. So there's their power and resupply stations, essentially. Now, in the future, if I do another one of these somewhere else, I will probably not go this outlandish. This will probably be like the main pit stop from Earth kind of thing that will come up here and dock with this. The solar panel thing seems to be working pretty great because I don't know if these are... Yeah, they're going to deplete, but the 2 ships are almost fully recharged, which is really cool. So, but yeah, I've got the hangar going, got the process and storage. I may do some other stuff with it. I think... I have a hard time justifying using the amount of steel I would need to weld all of these up right now. Eventually I will, but I kind of feel like maybe every time we come back to the outpost, we'll keep finishing this or something like that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. But I think next episode, this is stable enough. Oh, I need to add a beacon. I need to put a beacon somewhere in here, and I need to add an ore detector to the star. I think what I'm gonna do, I might even, can I do it with, I can do it with steel plates, good, because that's all I think I have on me at the moment. What I'm thinking for the ore detector, if I did my math right, the antenna is connected to that plate and the one behind it. Or not the one behind, anyway. That's what I needed to do. So I think I can fit an ore detector right there. I think I'm gonna do that. I like that. It's simple, it's easy, but it puts it where I kind of need it. So I'm gonna fix that up in between now and the next episode, but next time we'll probably go out exploring a bit more, since this one has platinum and we've got kind of all of our ions set up the way that we need. I'm not too worried about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but I think for now we're going to wrap things up for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.